OTS Championship weekend has come and gone, and there are so many interesting challengers out here that I don't know if we're going to be able to cover them all. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome. We're going to be starting off over here with Kashtira, of all things. Actually, this Kashtira deck, actually playing summon limits in the main deck, trying to detour the opponent so that they cannot capitalize on any of the more, too many summons make my deck unplayable. You also see the Lava Golems in here, checking the potential problems that this is going to run into. Let's call it what it is. You already know that Kashtira's got some problems, but the deck does need a way to kind of, get itself off of the ground. And it can do it. It's just, it requires a lot more time and a lot more setup, especially the extra deck down here, setting things up. Double Zeus, by the way. I like that a lot. Side deck is extremely anti-meta, wants to take advantage and punish the opponent so there's none of that crazy little aggression that they're probably going to be setting up, but relatively straightforward list, and honestly I kind of think that's what you need out here with Kashtira right now. Second place out of this same event was Kashtira actually overcame the power that was Manadeum. Now, we've seen a lot of Manadeum list on the localized level. The super end of the competitive spectrum has kind of pushed this deck down a little bit. I mean, I'm not to say that it's not a crazy good deck. It's just, I think a lot of players, if they're going to invest that much time into comboing, they're going to dedicate towards other things. Now, we do see droplets in here so that you can break boards and do your thing. Same thing with enemy controllers. Calling your opponent's monster over to your field, now you can use it as a stepping stone, whether or not you need it as a synchro, or you need to bait something of an opponent's negate. I mean, your opponent has a Baron. I mean, enemy controller, attack talents. All of these stupid good cards are going to get you to where you need to be in order to set up. So, once again, that's the power of Manadeum, everybody. Gotta love combo. Alright, so that's our first OTS event. Now, we turbo on in to the next one here. We do see the Bystial Synchro deck that has been kind of doing its thing for a little while. I've genuinely enjoyed seeing how players have been innovating this deck, because this deck, to me, has some of the coolest play lines that you could see, especially with the Vision Resonator just being a free plop on the field. You have the little interactions with the Crimson Gaia, and then you're just playing one copy of the Sarcophagus to set up that early aggression on your opponent, and then maintain, the get-go so that this deck can do the snowball thing, so it can start synchroing on up. You do see that we are playing the Phantasmaze in here as well. List feels pretty straightforward. Alright, not a lot to kind of, I guess, challenge this, but the fact that it has the dragon base that it can take advantage of is extremely good. Second place out of this OTS was actually none other than Sky Striker. I'm actually surprised by this. The fact that Sky Striker found a way to overcome a lot of the metagame weakness out here. But once again, a lot more of these events are localized. All right, you got to remember that at the end of the day. 2 multi-roll. We're playing double Lightning Storm, which, to be honest with you, do kind of need Lightning Storm. You need that way to aggressively control what the opponent is doing. Unfortunately, if you don't have that, then your opponent's just kind of free to combo up. You also do see interesting spread of double Veiler, 1 Ogre, 3 Nibiru, triple Imperm. That half is fine, but the double Veiler with the double Ogre does kind of catch me a little bit more off guard, but interesting to see the ideas that they're trying out here that are showcasing, going, hey, this can work out. Next up here, we also had another Manadeum list. Wow, Manadeum, the Sky Striker player overcame Manadeum. That's actually kind of cool to me. The fact that you don't have to be bogged down by the craziness of this, but we're main decking triple Kashtira Fenrir. It's incredibly normal. This deck has been playing Droll. It wants to force stop the opponent so that they cannot capitalize on any more advantage, because the longer that you can see them start to snowball more of that advantage swing on a lot of these matchups is where this deck will fail. You have to find a way to make sure that you can stop that, and the stop button on that does this thing. I also see that we pushed our thrust into the side deck. That is incredibly interesting. That does tell me that they're not worried about a lot of the things that the meta could be putting up, and that they're adjusting so forth for that. Interesting choices for this list. Not exactly what I would do for Mana Diem, but okay. And then our fourth place list out of this is another Mana Diem. Holy crap, man. I found all the Mana Diem players in the world. They all congregated around to this event to kind of get the chance to do their thing here. Once again, I mean, this build, what's a hand trap? All right, I do see that we do have enemy controllers, droplets, you know, things like that, and then the talents and the thrust, like our previous list had here. But for the most part, we're not getting really too crazy in terms of the deck builds. It's just pretty straightforward. Once again, you do see that we do bring in Drolls post side decking. We also kind of get cheesy with just 2 anti-spell fragrance. I guess that's the definition of some of the time, but not all of the time. Definitely a little bit cuter. And then, of course, we have Herald of the Abyss for our 1 thrust. This build leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's definitely up there. Sure. Our next list here is more Mana Diem. Okay. Wow. They really love Mana Diem out here this week. The fact that this list plays the Drolls, I mean, that all makes sense to me. This build does get a little bit more saucy with the anti-fun of Spell Canceller down there in the side deck. Okay, so for whatever this duelist has had to run into out here for these events, they're putting the heavy aggression on with the Spell Canceller. You also side the Gaga Cowboy for time. Yeah, that's a real special. We also see the Crossout Detonators down here as well. So you can bring those in and make sure that, you know, your opponent's not going to be able to steal a stupid win from you. You should be in full control about 90% of the time. I also see that we are playing a Mannequin Cat in here as well. Really exploring some of the more options. Interesting. Okay. Our next list here is actually Rescue Ace, playing 41 cards. Of course, the Sinful Spoils package is in full swing. I don't know why you would try to play this deck without that. We are playing enemy controllers. I also one interaction I did miss with Rescue Aces in the mirror match, calling your opponent's Turbulence over to your field and then setting 4 cards. So technically, you could negate it and then call the, you know, after you burn your Imperm on turn 1, your opponent's like, ugh, and then you enemy controller it on over, set your 4, and then combo up with your entire field. Yeah, that feels extremely scumbaggy, but I love it. All right, like, that's enemy controller is so stupid good right now. Like, it's actually mind-boggling to me, these interactions that you can get away with right now. And your opponent is just going to stare at you the entire time and go, yeah, that's 100% fair. Unfortunately, it is. That's how it goes. Our third place was purely but spookier. They are playing the Ghost Trick package in here. So basically what ends up happening is you basically use the Ghost Trick stuff to put 2 monsters on the field typically. Now, most of the time, if you're playing this package, you typically would be playing the sub package to make sure that you could go into F0, but this build is not doing that. I repeat, we're not getting that crazy. We're just doing it to set up and use Dullahans and the SoQ bosses and set up through that. This is an interesting idea. It does fairly show the little things that you can do with Purely on the side to put that aggression on your opponent and make sure that, you know, the deck can genuinely keep up with that pace, which is fine. And our fourth place was Ninjas. This was not on my bingo sheet today. Ninjas, of all things out of this OTS championship, had the way to do its thing. I also like the note down here. The side deck is Ancient Ninja Secret. And probably the same standard stuff. I don't know why you keep the side deck secret, but okay. You're playing triple Destructive Daruma Cannon in this deck. Like, holy crap. You wanted to keep the opponent out of playing the game. and it looks like you did an incredibly good job at it. Like, I genuinely am impressed with the aggression that this deck looks to hold on the meta here. Once again, it's still ninjas. Like, how did you manage to overcome a lot of the meta with this? Yeah, you can set your opponent's cards and get away with it for free, by the way. Our next OTS championship that we are jumping over here to, Unchained ended up winning it. Am I surprised to see Unchained doing its thing? No. Honestly, the thing that does surprise me, though, is I see double unicorn in the extra deck. That's not exactly something that you see a lot of at this point in time. Which, once again, I mean, yeah, it's cool that we're seeing, you know, Unchained get the interactions with this, but okay. We're also playing double droplet in the main. That's kind of cool. Still playing the DDD package. You're never going to see people butt off of that again. It happened once, but never again will we see people exploring away from that. No, 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 no. There's no reason not to. You just stick with what you know, and you will get the consistent results that you want to see. Shout out to Dimension Shifter down there in the side deck. You love to see it. And then our next interaction here is, of course, with the branded Fallen of Albaz good stuff. You have, man, they were fully aware that there was an Unchained player here, because I see that we have the Marionettes down there ready to scoop in. You don't really see a lot of people trying that out unless they know 150% that they're going to have to deal with the absolute terror of the meta. And, you know, this deck was able to overcome, not Unchained, unfortunately, but it did get the chance to come up here to second place and showcase, hey, we can do our thing. See, we are sporting off some crows in the main deck. That's not something that you see a lot of either anymore. It's a winged beast, I guess, but, like, I don't know. Can't really, deck didn't want to play Ashes, didn't want to play Drolls, that's why they're down on the side. We have the end of the Anubis on the side. We're not playing the Dark Barrier statue. I know we did have Ashes in the main. Okay. Yeah, list looks pretty straightforward. Chimera branded, I mean, like, you are seeing a lot more exploration of the decks, but, like, not a lot. Our third place was Super Heavy Sword Soul. We are just cheesing up the ideas out here. I see. The fact that you have this level of synergy doing its thing is kind of crazy. We're playing triple Spell Canceller down there in the side deck. This duels did not want to deal with any BS whatsoever. They're like, hey, you know, I understand that the meta can be a pain. Yeah, 150% it can be a big old pain, but, like, the fact that you are playing, you know, the ability to pendulum summon out most of your good cards, you know, set up, go down the synchro lines of play. I think that we are playing the Tilting Entertainment in here as well, which is kind of cool. Of course, the Captain Sargass free climb up is kind of cool, but you're not really doing anything else with it other than, you know, just making it, man, all deciding one monk of a Tenyi down there as well. Well, I suppose, you know, once you board in Vishuda and stuff like that, board out probably the Super Heavy Samurai stuff, you're getting places. And the last list out of this OTS championship was Phantom Knights. Sporting off for the Horus package. Yeah, I'm no stranger to actually seeing this deck. This has been kind of like the New Zealand special, I feel like, at this point, where you see this deck constantly evolving at a crazy rate. And, like, the deck is incredibly good. Don't get me wrong. Like, the things that you can do at the Phantom Knight package being splashed in is so crazy to me. Like, there is just so much aggression that this deck can come out of nowhere with, you know, especially when you set up the negate and you're like, all right, we're good to go. Out comes the horror stuff. You got more milling. It's just a giant snowball that goes out of nowhere. I know this video is a little bit longer, but that is your breakdown of a lot of OTS championships. So please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.